Hey guys, this is a video of my opinions of 164 scale cars, at least the higher end, aka pricey 164 scale cars. Um, yeah, it's just an opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but this is just all I'm saying as far as my money goes and what I think is a good value and what is not. Uh, this is not really a high-end car, I suppose. A Tarmac works. But I like this car because it's got good detail, nice printing, nice translucent light on the roof there, and hard to see, but there's a nice little antenna back there. You know, it's cool. A little nice background. I do wish that these boxes were smaller. I'm guessing they make them this big because, if you're going to put an SUV into a box or a limousine, it needs to be that long, but I'm gonna keep these cars on their displays in boxes because I've dropped models before and I don't want to drop these models. Anyways, so it is a nice car, and I think a large reason why these are expensive is because they say they're limited. I guess they are. But anyways, I'm gonna compare these to some 187 scale cars and some other 64 scale cars and talk about the value in my opinion. So this is an 64. I mean, I like this car, but just mainly because of its graphics. I mean, it looks like it's right out of a video game or something. It reminds me of a 1990s highly pixelated video game. And it's a GTR, which you can't go wrong with. So, I'm liking the metallic wheels, but you know, mainly it's the graphics. But there is a roll cage in there, a titanium-looking exhaust tip there. But you can see the wrinkling. No, that's the Skyline logo. Never mind. So this is cool. Again, not a high expensive car, but they're getting a little pricier as we go along. Nowadays, this is a pretty expensive car. I just wanted to see what the most expensive GTR had to offer. Mini GT makes some, but comparing photos, it seems like this has crisper, sharper details. So again, metallic rims, very nice. I guess I'll get rid of this spinning thing. I'm not going to use it. So the fenders, wide body kit, very nice. Tiny little R on that detail there. GTR logo, intercooler. So that's nice. I do question whether or not this is actually limited. It just says limited production, but what does that really mean? You know, does it mean 100 or 10,000? So, anyways, I do love classic Ferraris, and this scale mini is okay. What makes it nice are these really tiny details they've added. I don't know if that's etched photo etch. I know the wiper is photo etch. Yeah, I'm guessing it's just photo etched. So you have little parts like that glued onto the body. Right here, your photo etched part, which is simulating the leather strap holding the rear to the bumper. Right, look at these tiny exhaust tips, and the middle is actually black. I'm guessing it's just a dot of, no, I think it's physically inset. It's not just a paint app. It's actually physical and paint. So like a real, it's pretty cool. Anyways, there's a tiny texture on these vents. Obviously, you're gonna have plastic rear tail lights on this type of model here. What is not nice about this model are the giant sized tires. Where the tires are literally touching the fenders. This almost looks like a custom car. Someone took a classic Ferrari and then put giant rims on it. So the rims are nice. I mean, they're wire wheels. They are three-dimensional. It's not a printing. It's a photo etched wheel, so you can actually see the dimensionality of the spokes of these wheels. But they're just too large, which is really weird for something trying to be a really high-end car to scale. It's literally the brand is called Scale Mini. There's no way a real 250 LM would have giant wheels like that. You know, these would be like 20-inch rims, but in the 60s or whatnot, they would have never been that large. So it's kind of a fail there, Scale Mini. This I do believe probably is really limited. It says 200 out of 399. So if anyone has a number 200, please let me know, and then we'll know that they're lying. But I'm guessing it's quite real. This base is nice. The wood texture is three-dimensional. It's molded in. The grain is molded into the base here. Okay, so next one is by Pico. And this is just such an insane car in such an insane color that I had to get it. By the way, I don't think any of these have rolling wheels, but I mean, for me, they're never going to leave these bases. In fact, I'm going to leave them in the plastic clear tops too. I just took those off for this video. Anyways, you can, if you look carefully, they molded in the little radiator fan. Might be hard to see. Let me pull another flashlight out. Maybe you can see a little radiator fan there. It's molded into that piece. Kind of cool. This has photo etched parts. This grill is photo etched metal. It's not molded plastic. It's literally a piece of metal glued in there, like a real metal grill. So this I can, fully understand why it costs a lot, because it has these metal photo etched parts. This wing, the wing struts, again, look how thin they are. That's not plastic. That's metal bent into the struts of the wing. So that's high quality stuff. Very impressive. The rear taillights, I think they're translucent plastic. It's not a chrome paint. I believe they're actually a translucent plastic. So it's very impressive. And again, it looks like the vents back there are photo etched metal. They're probably applied from the inside. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at it and through the camera, so it's hard to see, but maybe you can see the grill there of those vents. I think that's photo etched metal. So this model is awesome by Pico. Alright. So next in line is a model by SCM, and it's one of the most iconic cars in history as far as I'm concerned. It's the Ferrari 250 GTO. And I had to have this over the cheaper Kyosho and whatnot, because again, you're getting into photo etched parts. These wire wheels are photo etched metal, so the spokes are actually three-dimensional. There's depth to them. You can see a metal, photo etched metal grill there on that rear vent. On the hood, photo etched leather straps holding the hood in place, although it's just molded in, Photo etched vents there. The front, that grill surround, I think that's photo etched metal as well, the one with the Ferrari logo. And the lights, I'm not sure. That's just clear plastic with silver paint behind it. But you got this tiny little plastic wind deflector, which I guess it was on the real number 24 GTO. There you can see how thin it is. I mean, or even crazier is look at these windows. I mean, they're overlaid plastic. So a real race car would have polycarbonate windows. They're not glass. And in this case, they literally would slide open, sideways, not up and down like a traditional car. And so they simulated that with two pieces of plastic, meaning just gluing plastic by itself, usually you have the crazing from the glue. It's very difficult. And then obviously you can see the interior here. Steering wheel is brown. There's a chrome shifter in there, like a real GTO. Some silver paint for those vents, the defroster vents. A blue seat, blue racing seats. And then if you look really carefully, hopefully you can see it, but in front of the gas tank or whatnot, you have two metal struts there. And again, there you go. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it was to glue those in place. These two tiny metal struts there. So, this was an expensive model. Again, photo etched gas cap, photo etched lock for the rear hood, plastic rear lights. I'm not sure what those are, but they look like metallic pieces. And then this diffuser on the bottom. Diffuser on the bottom is photo etched metal bent as well. So there's a lot of hand crafting going on in this model, and I think it's fully worth it. It's very expensive, but this is it. Not much gets better than this. Well, that's not particularly true. Well, you'll have to decide on your own opinions. So the next model is by Timothy and Pierre. It's a Singer Porsche. Singer is a company that pretty much makes brand new replicas of classic Porsches. So this looks like a classic Porsche from the late 70s, 80s, I believe. Not an expert on Porsches, but I really like it because I used to snowboard, and this photo etched snowboard with a graphic on it, it's just cool. This little rack they made for it, and then you get into the wheels again, looking nice, and they look like aluminum wheels. I'm not sure if they're plastic or not, to be honest with you. You'll notice the door handle is a separate plastic piece here. You can kind of see there. It's literally a separate plastic piece. It's not molded into the door. Separate chromed mirrors, gas cap. The rear, we got these vents. Again, photo etched metal, and you can kind of make out the box where the 911 logo would be. Without a magnifying glass, I wouldn't know for sure. But if you look at the surrounds of the windows where the molding is, that's there as well. It's not just one continuous piece of clear plastic, but they're simulating the rubber molding going around the windows like a real car has. So that's darn impressive. I mean, look at this logo, the car, the Singer brand logo there. Hopefully you can see it there. Yeah. So again, this is an expensive model relative to, Tomica or whatnot, but I think it's worth it. That is, it's nice. The base itself is kind of lame though. It's like some sort of fake leather or something wrapped around a piece of cardboard. So, I mean, I'd rather just have a black piece of plastic than this, because I know it's going to go bad over time. Photo etched serial number. That's a nice touch. Okay, so that's cool. And you guys might not agree. It's probably less detailed than these two, but this is what got me back into collecting these. I love collecting 1/200 scale military jets, and when I saw this, I'd never seen a Lambo with this body kit before. I've been out of the reading car magazines and stuff, seeing how most physical magazines are gone, and I'm too lazy to read internet websites. I have other things that I research online. But I saw this at a store, and I'm like, whoa. So this is my favorite 1/64 scale car by LB Works. It's supposed to simulate a Japanese Zero fighter from World War II. So that's why you have the Japanese red dot there. And it's a matte finish. Although technically I don't think this green is the same green as a real Japanese Zero, Mitsubishi Zero fighter. But you can see, some photo etched parts there on the engine. That's what the reflection, it might be hard to see, but I'll be honest with you, it's not as detailed as the SCM or the Timothy and Pierre, but the car itself is just so much cooler, I think. I mean, if Batman was a real person, he'd be driving one of these in black, right? So, alright, so that's what's going on as far as my recent acquisitions in higher end 64 scale cars. I still say though, value wise, Kyosho is a great brand. That's a nice looking car. Plastic inserts, you can see the Dino I believe it is there. But, you know, where things fall apart is, look at these tail exhausts. There's no black in the middle. So it's just silver all the way through. That's not very realistic. Very often the wheels aren't realistic because they're just solid plastic. There's no physical air through there like a real wheel has. So, but again, though, this thing is probably like $10. You know, so it's a fraction of the cost of these other ones. Upping the game is a Mini GT. They're doing a great job, I think. They have a lot of the custom body kits on many of their variations of models, but you can see the extra work they're putting in with all this tampo printing. You know, this titanium chromed type of exhaust tip. It's just paint, but it's still extra effort, you know, plastic instead. Lights. So again, fraction of the cost. I think value-wise, these guys are one of at the forefront of 64 scale. If you really care, you know, these things actually do roll. Same with Kyosho. Well, not as well though. So now one thing though is the 187 scale, which is HO scale of model railroading. Honestly, I think their cars are just as good or better. So there's a company called Spark Model. They have a different brand called Redline, which does their Ferraris. And so just for a sense of scale, right? 164 up top, 187 on bottom. And the details on this, again, look at all this printing on there. This is an old model, it's probably like 15 years old, so that decal's working loose. But photo etched tow hooks there. The wing again, photo etched metal. Look how thin those wing struts are, right? And this is one of the least favored models by this company. Here's another one, very popular car. You've seen probably by Tomica and many larger plastic model kits. Le Mans winner here. You can see the two antennas there. You know, the mirrors actually have an inset reflector. You know, look at these wheels. This model is just nuts. I mean, look how thin those wing struts are. The details back there and above the diffuser. You know, the tail lights are these strips. I don't know if that's printed on. I think it is. It's actually hard to see some of these details with the naked eye. You'll notice that. I mean, look how far in the vents go. They actually have depth to them, more depth than the vents on this car, right? Look how shallow that vent is. There is no vent, but the vent on this car literally goes inside the body, you know, because it's resin. These 187 scale cars are made of plastic. They're not made of metal. So again, with the vents on this Peugeot, look how far they go in, and then there's actually a radiator or something in there. It's hard to tell because it's black, sorry. So, you know, the best 187 scale cars, I think, are on par with the best 164 scale cars. You know, photo etched parts. Photo etched parts. The printing. It's just amazing. The only problem is, I think Spark and Redline are harder to come by. I don't see many people selling them because the scale itself is it's a true hobby scales for model railroading, whereas 1/64th is, you know, Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. So, you know, there must be magnitudes exponentially more collectors of this scale than a model railroading scale. But anyways, I just want to throw it out there because if you love small vehicles, you know, and you still love high detail, Spark model and Redline model, they're the ones to go with. So, but as far as variety goes, you know, nothing's gonna beat 1/64th. You can pretty much get a model of any vehicle you can ever think of. So, and a lot of vehicles with Hot Wheels that just have never existed. It must be really fun to work for that company. Here's another 187 scale This is from a really rare brand, Giolini. It's an Italian brand. And this is an old model. It's probably like 15, 20 years old. But even 15, 20 years ago, you know, this is a resin model again. Look at the wheels on this thing. Hopefully, come on, focus. Photo etched 3-dimensional wheels. Right? Photo etched radiator grille. Some sort of plastic translucent headlights. And the rear there. You know, it's a very simple body style, so it can get away with it, you know. But, I mean, comparing this 187 scale Ferrari to this 164 scale Ferrari, well, no, 164 is blows it away. But then again, this thing is 20 years old, 15, 20 years old, I'm guessing. I'd never heard of the brand, to be honest with you, but I did buy it over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. So, anyways, that's just my thoughts here of the 164 scale world. I'm going to continue buying them. I'm going to put up a video of my Tomica Limited Vintage collection. It's very small. You know, I'm pretty new to this. And my Kyoshos later on. And then I suppose maybe I'll go into more depth and detail of these 187 scale cars, because their detail really is quite crazy. So, alright, take care, guys.